Everybody expects that Trump is going to be acquitted in the impeachment trial today. Like, we're gonna take a look at some of the votes that maybe could go the other way. Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski, I mean, they wouldn't even give us witnesses. Susan Collins did, only once it was clear it wouldn't happen. But maybe they'll actually vote to remove him from office. But no, we understand where the vote is going to go, but I want you to listen to the excuses that are given by these individuals. First, here is Senator Susan Collins on why she feels okay with leaving Trump in power.
Article 1 alleges the president, quote, will remain a threat to national security and the Constitution if allowed to remain in office. Are you confident that the president won't seek foreign assistance again?
I believe that the president has learned from this case.
What do you believe the president has learned?
The president has been impeached. That's a pretty big lesson. I'm voting to acquit because I do not believe that the behavior alleged reaches the high bar in the Constitution for overturning an election and removing a duly elected president.
But the president says he did nothing wrong. Why do you think he learned something?
He was impeached, and there has been criticism by both Republican and Democratic senators of his call. I believe that he will be much more cautious in the future.
That person is held up as one of the most reasonable Republicans. What she said, like, if I am, because it's my birthday, I'm feeling good, I wanna be charitable. She's one of the most naive people I've ever seen literally in my life. That's the best case scenario, and it probably isn't accurate. She was lying to our faces about how he's been chastened by this experience. After being impeached, why would he ever? I mean, think about what would happen if he did pursue foreign assistance. He'd be protected from the consequences. He'd never do it then.
Crazy.
What are you talking about?
It's not like it, again, everyone, as you said, the best case scenario is that she's naive and somehow forgot the way they all felt about Donald Trump before he became president. All of them called him a liar, called him detached from the truth, said he was a sociopath, said it would be their fault. It would be the downfall of the Republican Party if he got in office. I think Lindsey Graham was the one who said that.
He'd destroy the Republican Party.
After all of that, suddenly, he's learned his lesson. That's nothing like the characteristics of what you guys described him as or anyone knows him as. What will actually happen, if anything, by the way, because it could give him carte blanche to be like, I can do whatever I want because they gave me this free card, get out of jail free card. He'll circle the wagons and he'll eliminate any more potential snitches. That's what he's concerned about. Since the beginning, he's concerned about whistleblowers, leaks, and loyalty. As he's found that may not always be the case, he's gonna make sure he continues to tighten up that circle. And that's what dictators do. They have a small circle of people they can trust to carry out what they want.
Yeah, and like her thing is, we don't need to remove him because he's learned his lesson. Okay, so let's pretend that we don't know what he thinks coming out of this. We do, and we're gonna get to that in a minute. But let's say we don't know. Let's just look at the past and see if we can learn any lessons. So Donald Trump, in his first run for the presidency, 100% repeatedly, both in public and in private, asked for foreign assistance. We can disagree about whether he received it, but he did it in public. His campaign manager had meetings, he was asking for it on TV, all that. He asked for it. As a result of that, there was a multi-year investigation of him that was far more damaging and distracting and all of that than impeachment was, which was only a couple of months. As soon as the Mueller report came out, the next day, he had phone calls trying to pressure Ukraine to help him out. So he didn't learn anything from a multi-year investigation of his seeking foreign assistance. Then he does it the second time, even though he knows the consequences, and the Republicans 100% protect him again. You would have to be a madman to think that he would not. He's gonna do it in this election, not like for future stuff, the midterms, wants to help out Republicans. He is going to actively do it now. But that's the hypothetical. We don't have to be hypothetical. I mean, Norah O'Donnell in that said, he says he didn't do anything wrong. In fact, you can take a look at this if you want to check it out. Philip Bump, and it even conveniently has a photo of Susan Collins. The 75 times he's insisted he did nothing wrong. If a kid keeps saying, I didn't do anything wrong, imagine if the parents were like, no, he learned his lesson. How stupid would you have to be?
Every time that he did it.
And in particular, like that's in general, he's been saying he did nothing wrong. He was asked about Susan Collins specifically saying he had learned a lesson. The president said, it was a perfect call. He is yelling at her, no, I have learned nothing because I didn't do anything. It was a perfect call, I can do whatever I want.
You don't have to believe us, believe him. It's what it's always been. He's never hidden any of it. By the way, none of it has been done covert. None of it's been done in a way where he's like, well, I'm gonna make sure that people don't find out what I'm doing is illegal. He does it so blatantly. I'm not even sure if he knows that it's illegal. Now, not that he doesn't know that it's wrong or the way he does other presidents haven't done before, at least so blatant. I'm sure other presidents have had corruption we never found out about. But what he's learned is like, so much so he thinks he's a different kind of human being. So even if he considers something is illegal, he'll go, I did it, but I get to do it because I'm Donald Trump. It's the way his brain works. And until we understand that, as outrageous as that perspective is, you're gonna continue to run into this brick wall. Yeah. Susan Collins, but I don't think she really cares.
No, she's fundamentally unserious. Just not, she is a hack of a different flavor. Like the other Republicans, she likes to pretend that she's not, but she is. The end result is the same.
A normal human being, after going through the year-long investigation and then somehow skirting that responsibility that was blatantly put forward of the evidence. But after you have a collective group of the majority of the Senate backing you up publicly and vehemently, like you're forced to go harder with this.
Yeah.
If nothing else, this encourages him more than the previous thing.
Well, you know who is gonna go hard? Trump's inner circle, because we're like, has he learned a lesson about other time? Like hypothetically, he could ask, Ireland for help or something. I wonder what he'll do in the future. No, let's stick for just a second to this particular call for foreign assistance. Rudy Giuliani was asked about whether they should push forward with investigations of Biden. He says, absolutely, 100%. I would have no problem with him doing that. In fact, I'd have a problem with him not doing it. I think he would be saying that Joe Biden can get away with selling out the United States, making us a fool in the Ukraine. Giuliani has not been pushed aside by Donald Trump. He has not been attacked by Donald Trump in any way. He's still working for Donald Trump. And they're saying they're gonna go forward with this call for assistance. But again, he learned something. Yeah, he did. He 100% learned something. He learned that he can do whatever he wants. That's the system we have. He's not formally a king, but in effect, he can do whatever he wants. By the way, let's turn now just briefly to Lisa Murkowski. She said, based on what we heard, clearly a factor in that was the president was looking for a certain action from President Zelensky as it related to the Bidens. I believe that. So she says, yes, he was trying to pressure Zelensky to investigate the Bidens. So she gets it. Hey, we won. No, the response to the president's behavior is not to disenfranchise nearly 63 million Americans and remove them from the ballot. I cannot vote to convict. The Constitution provides for impeachment, but does not demand it in all instances. So I grant you, she says, yes, he tried to pressure a foreign leader to announce bogus investigations of Joe Biden to manipulate the effects of the 2020 election, but I'm not gonna do anything about it.
This doesn't matter. Again, it goes back to, you can do whatever you want. It's it's the Dershowitz argument again. Yes, he did all these things, it was horrible, but he's the president, and what we don't want to do is remove a criminal president. We'll admit that he's a criminal president, but we don't want people to be mad that they voted for a criminal and he was removed for being a criminal.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. What are you there for?
Yeah, and look, anyone who says something overturn an election, never trust a thing that person says. By its very nature, every single impeachment is going to that definition, overturn an election. It's an irrelevant point, it doesn't mean anything. It's clearly laid out under what circumstances impeachment is merited. Bribery, high crimes and misdemeanors, treason, all of that. Look, we can disagree about whether we believe that this falls under, I think it's very clear. But this whole thing of, I think we should just let the people vote, that can be the retort to any crime a president commits. Trump could go on a shooting spree and kill all the Democrats who are running against him, and Lisa Murkowski could throw her hands up and say, well, yeah, I agree, it's inappropriate, but shouldn't the American people really decide at the end of the day?
Yeah.
It is fundamentally devoid of any intellectual or ethical merit.
Let's go with the rest of the flawed, this last thing on this, I'm sorry. The rest of this flawed take is, hey, they want to investigate the Bidens. This is open. Hey, let's investigate the Bidens. Giuliani said, let's investigate the Bidens. Hey, you know what? There's millions and millions of Americans who still support Joe Biden. Should you take that into account? Hey, don't investigate the Bidens. Don't investigate Joe, don't investigate Hunter. Don't go into that solely because people still like Joe Biden.
Just let the people decide.
That's our reasoning. Let the people decide.
So frustrating. Oh, by the way, just a small amount of credit. Doug Jones apparently is going to vote to convict him. He did announce that earlier today. By the way, it might be happening right now.
Reluctantly.
Reluctantly, whatever. He's going to do it. It's something, I guess. It's something. In general, we get nothing. For more political news, breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.